So here we are once again. Good evening, folks. Mobile Pizza here, and welcome to Friday Night Tat Talk. As most of you know, unless there's somebody new out there, and if you are, please put something in the comments so I'll know you're there and let me know where you're watching from. But as most of you know, we do this every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and have some regulars that come in every week. First one in here tonight was Brian, and he was in here good and early, like 5 minutes to 7, so over an hour ago. And of course, he was kind enough to give me a donation right off the bat, as he usually does. He helps the channel, and this is one of the ways I get all the stuff that I get to show off to you guys. Eleanor was the next one in. She was in about 20 minutes ago. So glad she's here. And then Matt popped in just before the show started. So very glad to have you, Matt. And here's Ted. So now we've got two of us. I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Hey,
Oh, there he is.
evening, folks.
Now, I'm looking, I guess that's the blinds coming across your face. So I'm thinking I'm looking at a blind man. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. It's the blinds.
I don't know why, but that reminded me of a song I used to love to sing in the band, which is a Rubber Band Man. I used to love singing that song.
The blinds?
Yeah, I said blind man, and my mind went to Rubber Band. Don't ask how an old fart's mind works. I don't know, especially an old musician programmer. You know,
Okay.
Brian saying hello.
Hey, Brian. Looks like Natural Grocers has a. Never mind.
He starts it and then he just cuts it off.
Oh well, no.
So,
My supermarket, they're selling a dozen eggs for $2, fresh, organic. Free range chicken eggs. So
of course, from all my years of watching Batman, I guess all I have to say is exactly. Okay. I couldn't resist that. That is right up my alley. You know that.
and I have a chance to win a Tesla Model 3.
There you go. I noticed that John got picked up a Tesla.
Who?
What's John's channel name? John from Vegas with us. That was in Vegas with us.
Did he design the logo for ZTE? He designed Zeke?
No. He was one of the. Oh, he's got what 300,000 subscribers.
What?
He's over in Austin. I just lost his as all the years I've been subscribed to him. My mind just lost the name.
What's his YouTube channel name?
I'm trying to remember it. Anyway, he just bought a Tesla. He buys nothing but fast cars. Eleanor is saying, okay, welcome, LPN 201. Eleanor is saying, put a light on so we can see your gorgeous face.
That's probably old. I got the light on, Eleanor. Hey.
Eleanor thinks you have a gorgeous face.
Thank you. But look, the light is on, so she should be happy. Stylized in black, dramatic, black and white, because we're doing a Noir.
Can you tell we're listening to a photographer, folks?
I just need like a hat or a brimmed hat like yours, George, and I can like narrate a nice Noir, classic Noir.
Noir.
Thank you.
That's it. So you want to be a 40s detective? You know they used to get beat up all the time. You know that, right?
What? Well, I'm gonna have an assistant, so the assistant you can get beat up in my place.
Oh, there's Matt. Matt, thank you so very much, sir. Appreciate it very, very much.
Ooh, welcome, Matt.
Oh yeah, if you haven't listened to many noir detectives from the 40s and 50s, these guys, Sam Spade, all the famous ones, yeah, they were tough guys and they always won the case and they always caught the guy, but they would get beat up 2 or 3 times an episode, hit on the back of the head with a butt of a gun and knocked that. Happened like every single episode to all these guys. The number of concussions these guys must have had in a month probably ended up being about 12, something like that. So you got to be able to take it. And I've taken my beatings when I was young. I was the school punching bag. That's how I ended up being the guy who could take whatever you could dish. So I've had my beatings. I don't think I need any more.
That was for sticking your nose where it doesn't belong.
Listen, Matt said is still watching Highway Patrol. Well, Highway Patrol was a 60s TV show. It was kind of in the noir detective mold, even though he was a Highway Patrol captain. But Matt says he still watches it. That's amazing. Who was? Oh yeah, Broderick Crawford. That was the star of that show, and he was one tough guy. That's true. You're too young to know this stuff, Ted.
Noir.
We're teaching you all about old stuff. So anyway, we have New York represented. Of course, with Eleanor and I, we have Tennessee represented. With Ted, we have Texas represented. Matt also is representing us in Tennessee. He's over in Nashville, I think. And so we've got some pretty good representation here. We'll see who else pops in. So let me tell you guys, anybody who's new, you know that I put the notes on my website every week. So let me show you that real quick.
Oh, hold on. LPN is saying Columbo never got what? Was Columbo in a noir?
No, that was in the Columbo was 70s and 80s and 90s. That was definitely not noir. Interesting thing, Peter Falk was in high school with my mother. They were in high school at the same time.
He never got socked, but the way he would just be talking at the end of the series, all that tone. I know what you mean, LPN, that tone.
but Peter Falk was a very old guy. I mean, when he stopped doing Columbo, he would have been about 80 or early 80s. He was pretty old at that point. Well, see, he and my mother were in school. Yeah, he had to be 80 because my mother was born in 1920. He would have been born around the same time. So he did his last Columbo episode, I'm thinking around 1998, 2000. He would have been 78 to 80 even then. So.
Oh, hey, Renz.
Hey, Renz, glad to have you here, brother. I know you're busy, and most of the time you don't have time to be in here, but I'm glad you're in here and let us know you're there because I'm going to worry about you every once in a while, even though I know you've told us you've just been very busy. So appreciate you being here and saying hello. So let me show my webpage to anybody who doesn't know it. I'm going to share screen, and this is where the show notes for tonight's show are. So let me get my brand stuff out of the way here. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, click on today's date, you'll get just the show notes for tonight's show. So while we're here, as I always do, let's see if I can. I give you guys a preview of what we're going to talk about tonight. And as he's been saying on Pocket Now all week, Jaime Rivera said there's no big news this week. So I just grabbed some stories that I thought might be interesting to us all. The first one, there is something called AI hallucinations. And I just said, who knew there was such a thing? So I found this on the CNBC's website. So we'll talk about that. Just interesting to me. It's basically about how much stuff some of these AIs get wrong. The next two stories are both going to be about X. And Ted, you were right. Not calling it Twitter anymore. You said right off the bat, it's just going to be called X, and you were right.
That's right. X going to give it to you. They're going to give it to you. X going to give it to you.
So I said X trying to address shadow banning, and Elon wants to address it. It's very difficult, I gather. So that's going to be on TechCrunch, and followed by a story that they're soon going to be offering video calling very soon, because they've already had some samples on for themselves. So those are the next two. Then the iPhone. This is a very, very short story. Most of these stories are not very long. The iPhone 15, it's going to have 35-watt charging, as far as we can tell. So we'll go to Android Authority for that. And then I found this story. One user, writer, quite disappointed by the iPhone Dynamic Island, and she's going to go in depth. This is a longer story, explaining why she's been disappointed by the Dynamic Island on the iPhone. So very interesting, especially when they're coming out with the Dynamic Island for all the iPhones this year, supposedly. And finally, I'm finishing up with.
She's gonna kind of late to the party.
Yeah, but it's a pretty good article, though. I'm going to finish up with One UI 5.1.1 update, which is bringing some Fold 5, Flip 5, Tab S9, and Watch 6 features to older Fold, Flip, Tab, and Watch devices. So just kind of an interesting one. And I followed that up with the Samsung August update brings even more camera and gallery additions to the S23 series. Now, for my money and for a lot of other people's money, the S23 Ultra already had the best camera of any phone out there, period. So now they're making it even better. And I have mine right here. And yes, I checked already. I do have the update.
Say that last part again, George.
I said I already have the update.
No, before that.
That I think is the best camera out there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that think this is not only the best camera, the best phone there is. And I still think it's the best camera out there right
best
now.
Camera.
Better than any Pixel, better than any iPhone, period.
Better than the Xiaomi 12, better than the phones that have a 1-inch sensor, Type 1 sensor?
We don't have any of those phones in America. How would I know? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, maybe it can't beat some of the Xiaomi's, but of the phones we have in America, there's nothing comes close to this.
Okay, fine. Okay.
So anyways, I'm going to try to get out this weekend and test out these new things on the camera. We're going to go through that story, and I went through the story already and looked to make sure I could find all the things that it updated, and I can. So I'm going to try to get a video up about it. So those will be the stories we'll go over tonight. Let's see if there's anything new. And see, Brian said, wait. Okay. LPN been researching the AI hallucination problem. It's real. Yeah, I had no idea until I found the story yesterday. Brian said, good for now. Good start for the weekend. Now, what's he saying here? Zuckerberg going to choke Elon. Yeah, they're still talking about having this fight between the two of them. There's a guy I follow on YouTube. I forgot his name too. Boy, I'm really losing it tonight. I just was watching his show a little while ago. Jason Whitlock. And he has a regular, and Jason Whitlock was a sports reporter for years. He worked for ESPN. He worked for Fox twice, but he's been a writer, and he works at the Blaze now, but he's got a 5-day-a-week show. It's pretty interesting. But one of his regulars is a Korean guy called Steve. What's Steve's last name? He covers mostly boxing his whole career. He's a real boxing expert. And he said, and keep in mind, this guy's been writing about boxing since the 80s. And he said, because Elon is so much bigger, that if he trained hard for 6 months, he'd win that fight hands down. So that's who I'm rooting for.
What if Mark would train hard for 6 months too?
But Mark can't gain enough weight to make up that difference in weight and size. You know, Elon's just a lot bigger and outweighs him.
But he's also older.
Yes, that's true. But It depends on who you are. I don't think either one of them could whip me, and I'm 78 years old. And I really mean that. I'm not kidding. Yeah. But, of course, I probably had more fights in 1 year as a kid than they've had in 3 lifetimes. Matt is saying better than a Razor Plus. Yes, a lot better. I have said since the beginning, and if you look out on YouTube, you will find a whole lot of people that have been saying since the S23 Ultra was released, that's by far the best phone ever. I said it's the best phone I've ever had. It still is. Until my guess is until the S24 comes out, it's still going to be the best phone. But
you were really happy with that.
Maybe the new iPhone will be better. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see, Brian says Elon lack of skill won't help him. No, that's why Steve said if he trained hard, with a trainer for 6 solid months. But
could he survive that training?
It depends on it. You got to be dedicated. Depends on how dedicated you are. How do I survive doing as much as I do every week? I do 6 to 10 hours of exercise.
Yeah, dedication can only get you so far. If your body says it can't do it, the body says it can't do it.
Well, I was thinking about it today about some of the guys I work with, and they were all, 60s and 70s, and like they accept the idea that as you get older, you get heavier and you get more out of shape. And I'm proof that the opposite is what works. As you get older, you work harder at it because you need it more and you get in better shape. I've already proved that. So, why people accept the fact that you get older and have to get out of shape. No, you need to be doing the opposite of that. I'm in better shape now than I was at 30 or 40 or 50. And that's how you stay healthy, in my opinion. So, yes, can Elon...
I need more light.
Can Elon do enough? I think he probably can if he does what that guy said. But will he do enough? To me, both these guys are rich. So Mark's been training for years. So, of course, he's got the big advantage. Will Elon start training and stick with it enough to win the fight? I think that's where the question would come in.
I think the ultimate question is this fight even going to happen? I say no. Well,
Mark said no the other day, too. And Elon immediately came back on Twitter saying something like, if Mark was in town, he would go by his house and have the fight right there and then. So Elon is pushing this idea. Maybe it's for money. I don't know. So Mark, it seems like he doesn't think it's going to happen either.
For money?
Elon knows how to make money. We all know that. Okay, let's start with our stories. Do you want to go first? You want to go with the one with AI hallucinations, or you want me to do it?
Oh, yeah, you go first. I'll take the shadow banning.
All right, I'm going to bring it up. Okay. How'd you tell me I do the make it bigger? What did you tell me? What keys did I have to press to make the screen bigger?
Control plus.
Control plus. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
There you go. Okay. This was on CNBC's website. Let's go there. Meta, OpenAI, Anthropic, who I never heard of, and Cohere AI models all make stuff up. Here's which is worse. So they're comparing the 4 of them. And this is just from yesterday. So let's go into read review, get rid of some of these ads. ChatGPT can be a helpful job hunting tool if used correctly, according to career coach Sarah Doody. If the tech industry's top AI model had superlatives, Microsoft-backed OpenAI's GPT-4 would be best at math, Meta's Llama 2 would be most middle of the road, Anthropic's Claude 2 would be best at knowing its limits, and Cohere AI would receive the title of most hallucinations. So that's the worst, I gather. And most confident wrong answers, yeah. That's all according to a Thursday report from researchers at Author AI. So these guys are the experts, a machine learning monitoring platform. The research comes at a time when misinformation stemming from artificial intelligence systems is more hotly debated than ever amid a boom in generative AI ahead of the 2024 US presidential election. Yeah, it's the worst time for this kind of nonsense. It's the first report to take a comprehensive look at rates of hallucination rather than just sort of provide a single number that talks about where they are on a large language model leaderboard. Adam Winchell, co-founder and CEO of Author, told CNBC. AI hallucinations occur when large language models, or LLMs, fabricate information entirely, behaving as if they are spouting facts. One example, in June, news broke that ChatGPT cited bogus cases in a New York federal court filing, and the New York attorneys involved may face sanctions. And I wondered about that. I'm like, okay, this thing made bad judgments, but why is that the attorney's fault? Unless I guess they could have fed them the wrong stuff, I guess. Anyway, in one experiment, the Author AI researchers tested the AI models in categories such as combinational mathematics, U.S. presidents, and Moroccan political leaders, asking questions designed to contain a key ingredient that gets large language models to blunder. They demand multiple steps of reasoning about information, the researchers wrote. Overall, OpenAI's GPT-4 performed the best of all models tested, and researchers found it hallucinated less than its prior version, GPT 3.5. Yeah, that had some problems. I remember that. For example, on math questions, it hallucinated between 33% and 50% less than the old 3.5 one, depending on the category. Meta's Llama 2, on the other hand, hallucinates more overall than GPT-4, and Anthropic's Claude 2, researchers found. In the math category, GPT-4 came in first place, followed closely by Claude 2, but in U.S. presidents, Claude 2 took the first place spot for accuracy, bumping GPT-4 to second place. When asked about Moroccan politics, GPT-4 came in first again, and Claude 2 and Llama 2 almost entirely chose not to answer. Well, that's probably better than giving you bad information, I guess. In a second experiment, the researchers tested how much the AI models would hedge their answers with warning phrases to avoid risk. Well, that's probably a good idea. Think, as an AI model, I cannot provide opinions. Well, that's probably better than getting it wrong. When it comes to hedging, GPT-4 had a 50% relative increase compared to GPT 3.5, which quantifies anecdotal evidence from users that GPT-4 is more frustrating to use. Yeah, but I'd still rather it tell me it can't give me an answer. The researchers wrote, Cohere's AI model, on the other hand, did not hedge at all in any of its responses, I can imagine, according to the report. Claude 2 was most reliable in terms of self-awareness. The research showed meaning accurately gauging what it does and doesn't know and answering only questions it had training data to support. Well, that's good. A spokesperson for Cohere pushed back on the results, saying Cohere's retrieval augmented generation technology, which was not in the model tested, is highly effective at giving enterprises verifiable citations to confirm sources of information. So I guess that's good. It has plenty to back it up. The most important takeaway for users and businesses, Winchell said, was to test on your exact workload, later adding, it's important to understand how it performs for what you're trying to accomplish. That would make sense. A lot of benchmarks are just looking at some measure of the LLM by itself, but that's not actually the way it's getting used in the real world. Making sure you really understand the way the large language model performs for the way it's actually getting used is the key. So it seems to me you have to do a lot of checking, I guess, separately, or researching on your own to see if they're getting this right. But isn't that kind of defeating the purpose then? That's how it seems to me. Anyway, I was just surprised they hallucinated at all. So I found that pretty fascinating. So I hope you guys did too. So any comment, Ted? Anything special to say?
That is interesting. Wow.
It is. Yeah, a year from now, are they going to be better or worse? That's what I wonder. Okay, let me see if we got anything. Okay, nothing new in the comments, so I'll just slide down to the next story. And this one has to do with X trying to address shadow banning, and this is on TechCrunch. So I'm going to pull it up. I believe Ted is going to read it.
Yeah, I got it up.
And, okay, whenever you're ready, Ted. All right, I'm just going to get this, pop this into reader view. Sometimes it takes a minute to get there. Let's see what happens. Come on. I'm going to try you once more. Okay. All right, when you're ready.
All right. Musk says X will address shadow banning soon, but former trust and safety exec explains why that will be difficult. This is by Sarah Perez.
And just from yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Ex-owner Elon Musk is promising to soon address the lack of transparency around shadow banning around the network, on the social network formerly known as Twitter. Say Monica Prince had to go by his choice too. But making changes that ensure their content is no longer circulated and kept out of the public view. In replies to users on X, Musk apologized for why the process is taking so long and explained what's holding up X from providing this data to users. Shadow banning has been a topic of concern even in Twitter's earlier days, as users didn't know they had been penalized in this way for their tweets. When enforced, users can post to the platform as usual, but would notice their tweets simply aren't getting the traction and replies they normally would. The topic often became politicized, and Trump and other Republicans complained that Twitter was making their tweets invisible. After taking Twitter over, Musk even attempted to prove that shadow banning was a common practice at the social network by releasing information to the public, though ultimately what was shared was just behind the curtain look at the complicated task of social media moderation. Still, Musk has insisted that users should have a right to know if they've been shadow banned. At the Viva Tech conference, the Twitter owner said the company was working on a way to show if users if their account was affected by the Twitter system in any way. In a tweet this morning, Musk explained why the problem was hard to tackle, complaining that there are so many layers of trust and safety software that it often takes the company hours to figure out who, how, and why an account was suspended or shadow banned. He also said a ground-up rewrite was underway to simplify this code base.
That's going to be a big job right there, ground-up rewrite.
The response didn't shed as much light on the difficulties facing X's latest project as many would hope, but a thread from Twitter's former head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, provided far more insight. Posting on the decentralized Twitter rival Blue Sky, Roth explained that there was some legitimacy to Musk's statements despite the word salad he used. Roth began by explaining that social media sites would generally make note somewhere when they've banned someone and why. For smaller companies, this might even be a spreadsheet or a Google Doc at first. Over time, as the system and network scale, the company will generally move that info into some kind of metadata directly attached to user accounts. Maybe it's a free text note on the account that's something like, "You will ban this user for posting death threats. Don't unban them without, checking with me first," Roth said. Twitter, however, still stores a lot of enforcement metadata and free text notes attached to user accounts. This system is called Guano because everything on Twitter had a cutesy bird name, he mentioned as an aside.
Yeah, now that got me right there. Do you know what guano is?
Bird shit.
Yeah, I don't in any way consider that cutesy. I was surprised that he called bird crap cutesy. Anyway, that struck me as soon as I read it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe it's Twitter didn't prioritize moving away from a free techno system because they were busy with other things, Roth said. But that led to a problem because these sort of notes are very hard to parse programmatically, which is sort of what Musk is complaining about. A human can understand and act on them, but if you want to provide automated user notice of account status, you would need them in a structured format.
Can I inject here? Because my programmer's mind started attacking this as soon as while I was reading this. And the problem here is in that previous paragraph, they're keeping this stuff in a metadata in a free text notes. That's a really bad idea. Of course, you'll never find anything. But in my mind, as a programmer, what I would do first in doing this from the ground up, I would find keywords that you're going to think about banning somebody. I would stick those keywords one by one in one particular file, also putting it in the person that we're getting ready to shadow ban, letting them know why they got banned. So I'm thinking that's how you start. You start with keywords, not some free text notes. That's the problem. Anyway, had to get that out.
Makes more sense. See, Roth agreed that rewriting the code that handles enforcement attribution is a good idea and one that was in the works just ahead of Twitter's acquisition. In fact, it was due to this to be shipped this year. Perhaps then Musk's takeover of Twitter and the subsequent widespread layoffs will slow the project down.
Could be.
I think that would slow a lot of things down.
Yeah.
For things like spam, the Twitter has hundreds, if not thousands, of different models and heuristics operating in parallel. That complexity is necessary to keep up with spam, but it makes it hard to explain exactly what causes a specific user to get shadow banned at a specific moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, if Twitter are rebuilding a bunch of the infrastructure that handles this, that seems like a good thing, and I wish them luck, he added. Joking, he left this documents describing how to do this in his Google Drive at the company. Given the complexities Roth described facing X with regard to the infrastructure here, it's good to imagine that the company will be able to soon implement technology needed to display to users their account status as promised, unless the project had been reprioritized some time ago.
Yeah, you said good to imagine. It's hard to imagine. That's why my app-minded mind right away said, okay, what's the first thing you want to do in redoing this from the ground up? And in my entire career, I've always been one that if you're going to fix a bad system or do it from the ground up, I always prefer, let's do it from the ground up. It might take longer, but you're going to end up with a much better system. So anyway, that's how I would start attacking it. First, get the keywords, stick them somewhere where everybody has access to them, and put it in the user's something or other so the user knows what happened. So anyway, you can see how my mind worked as a programmer for 34 years. So interesting. And I can see why he's having so much trouble. I mean, putting this stuff in free form in a text file is ridiculous, I think. So, let's see. Okay. Oh, from the first story, coherent is not coherent. Yeah, well, that's true. And agreeing with me, don't keep the meta there in that way. That it's terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, I think you have to attack it that way. So now you guys have some idea of how my sick mind works, but at least when it comes to programming, I kind of always get an idea of how to start attacking a problem, especially if you're going to do it from the ground up. So that's all the comments. So I'm going to go on to the next one, which is also X. So you can see I said here, and X will soon offer video calling, no phone number needed. And this is on Phone Arena. This is just a short one, but I think it's a good one. X coming up with video calling, I think would help them a lot. Look a lot better there, Ted.
Thank you. The sun was setting, so I was losing the dramatic light.
Okay. I'd rather have the sun setting. I'd rather have the sun setting than the daughter setting. Okay. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. I'm
Thanks.
sorry. No, I'm not sorry. That's just me. Okay, phone arena. X will soon introduce video calls on the platform. This is published a week ago, August 11th. So let me go into reader view. Rid of some of these ads.
Hey, hold on. Let me. I'll do the story. Let me do the story,
All
please.
right. I wanted to say this was written by Sveta Emenkova. Yes, Sveta Emenkova. I wanted to make sure I could say that right, and I believe I did, because I don't believe you pronounced the T at the beginning of her name, and I'm thinking it's a her. So go ahead whenever you're ready. You still there? We lost your picture.
All right.
Okay.
X will soon introduce video calls on the platform. It's one thing when needed. All right, let's see. Developing an everything app might be a never-ending job, but it looks like Elon Musk and his team are determined to do it. Rebranding Twitter to X, which is going to give it to you, was just one of the first steps. And in an interview with Linda Yaccaroni, X-Corp.
No, Yaccarino. Hey, I'm raised in Jersey. I'm pretty good at Italian names.
Yaccaroni? Yaccarino.
Yes.
Yaccaroni.
Yes, she may eat Yaccaroni, but that's not her name.
Let's see. In the interview, CNBC, the ex-CEO, she could be ex soon, confirmed that the video calls are coming to the platform. You will be able to make calls on X without needing the phone number of the person who you wish to call. In line with Yaccarino's statement, X designer and Andrea Conway posted about the new feature on X, mentioning that she had just made a call using X.
Cool.
Let me see this one.
I think we should start with the most recent.
You don't want to play that because they get into a lot more than just the video calling.
Well, first of all, I think we need to rewind a little bit and
So,
remind ourselves that Elon has been talking about X, the everything app, for.
Okay, so Yaccarino took the CEO job a few months ago to partner with Elon to transform Twitter into X, the everything app that's going to give it to you. Ever since Elon Musk bought Twitter, he has been talking about turning it into a platform that gives its users freedom to express themselves, make different transactions, including payment, earn income as creators, or to put it briefly, turn the platform into a global marketplace. Over the last few months, new features such as longer 25,000 character tweets. What? Is that true?
That's not for us. You'll see it by the end of this paragraph.
Like you're a Twitter Plus user?
It'll tell you. Just keep reading.
And job listing posts have been introduced for X paid users.
Yeah.
On the other hand, more and more limitations have been placed on its free users, including restrictions on the number of tweets one can read per day.
And that's you and me. Yeah, I saw that article 2 weeks ago. Now, the number of tweets is a pretty good number. I'm thinking 50, 100, something like that. But yeah, they're
how many?
I don't. I said I read
1,500. That's not a lot, George, in a day. I could do that. What if it's my job to read the tweets?
Then I guess you'll pay for the other type, where you'll have 25,000 character tweets.
They're charging me to read the tweets.
Anyway, I knew about that a couple of weeks ago. But it hasn't been implemented yet, by the way.
This is making me more and more glad that I deactivated my account.
Oh, okay.
The company's ambitions are high, and it has to step up its game by offering more than other social media platforms do. Twitter's rebranding was not welcomed by all its users and left people somewhat divided on whether it was a necessary change or not. Well,
it's his obsession. That's all it is. X is his obsession.
I think if he's trying to grow Twitter to be more than a social media app, then yeah, it's probably necessary.
He wants it. Yeah, he wants it to be everything. He's not kidding. He wants it to be the everything app, and I think he'll probably come close to succeeding at some point. Oh, watch the next paragraph.
I seriously doubt it.
I think it'll happen. Watch the next paragraph. They're losing ad money, but they're getting more users.
Despite all that and the fact that the company saw a 50% drop in ad revenue, new features, name, and all the fuss around X seems to be working. At least according to Musk, who recently shared that X monthly users reached a new high in 2023 with 541 million users compared to the 368 in 2022. But
so he's banking on the fact that right now he's making less money, but he's getting more users. He's banking on that turning around, I think, to something.
But he wants those users to become paid users, given the fact that
it sure seems like it.
Otherwise, it's just more overhead.
Yeah, that's not going to happen with me, but maybe it'll happen. If it happens with enough people, and if he does make, as long as the video calls are free, I'm good with that, you know.
Also, did you hear Musk wanted to get rid of the blocking feature?
Yes, I happened to see that when I was riding around in the back of the van today at work. I happened to see, I didn't get a chance to read the article, but I did see he wanted to get rid of it.
But he can't. It's actually a requirement on the Google Play Store and Apple App Store that a social media has to have a blocking feature.
Yeah, and why would you not want to let your users block other people? I didn't read the article, but it seems like a crazy thing to want to do to me. Yeah.
Probably to force people out of the echo chambers.
Yeah. Ted playing with the light again. That's true. We saw that, but he said the sun went down. So
it was a necessary evil.
Yeah, exactly. So LPN 201 is saying good luck with all that as far as all that Musk wants to do. I think he'll succeed with most of it, but certainly video calling, I think, is certainly a step in the right direction. So, but he won't get my money, I don't think. All right, I'm going on to the next story, and this is a very short story. iPhone 15 35-watt charging speed. This is on Android Authority. So, and this is from yesterday also. iPhone 15 charging speed could beat the Pixel 8. And that's their big thing, beating the Pixel 8. If true, the iPhone 15 may have a faster charging speed than the Pixel 8. Why that is a big deal to them, I don't know, but I guess it is.
Because Pixel 8 ain't nothing. It's probably. I could have sworn the iPhone 15.
I think the Pixel 8 is going to be 27 watt. So for them that's fast. Okay. By now we've heard plenty of rumors about the iPhone 15, and more are sure to come before the phone launches. We got a couple of weeks now, but the most recent rumors appears to back up earlier reports of the next iPhone having faster charging speeds. According to 9 to 5 Max industry sources, some models of the iPhone, that's the key word, of the iPhone 15 will sport charging speeds up to 35 watts. This would be 8 watts faster than the peak charging speed of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which I have right here, and 15 watts faster than the base model. If this is true, it's likely this increased charging speed would be reserved for the Pro models, I agree. In contrast, the standard model and Plus would be regulated to something slower. Yeah, that would be very Apple-esque. As earlier shaky rumors suggested that the iPhone 15 series could have a wired charging speed of 40 watts, but this rumor claims that won't be the case. Even if it did have 40-watt charging, it would still be outdone by the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra's 45-watt charging speeds. And yes, folks, this thing does have 45-watt charging speeds, but you'll see other articles, and I have a 45-watt charger too. It never really achieves that speed. And anytime you plug it in, I noticed that when I first got my 45-watt charger. But it's certainly going to be faster than others. while it won't beat the Galaxy S23 Ultra in a charging race, it would beat the upcoming Google Pixel 8 series. I don't know why they had to bring that up, but they did. According to our own leaked information, the Pixel 8 Pro is expected to have 27 watt, I remember that, wired charging, putting it in the same area as the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But fast charging isn't everything. The faster a battery charges, the more heat is generated. That's true, which can hurt the longevity of the battery. However, it wouldn't hurt if it could charge just a little faster. Although OnePlus seems to have solved that issue quite nicely, in my opinion. So, anyway, look forward to if you're going to have the Pro models, and my guess is it's going to be just the Pro models. Look forward to faster speed. Am I going to be getting the 15? I haven't decided yet. We'll have to wait and see, especially when all this talk about increase in price. Let's see.
LPN wants to know if your S23 got the August update.
Yes, I did. I said I got it the other day, and I will be taking it out this weekend to just check some of these new phone things that have been added, and I did check already. Most of them I've already seen there. So, and we'll talk about that as we get to the last two stories. Okay. Now we're about to Dynamic Island. Now, you want to read this story? It's kind of long.
Yeah, I don't know. I did the last one. It was too long for me.
So I'll do it?
Yeah, and I'll do the last one. Oh.
Well, there's two after this one. But
yeah, there sure is.
Yeah, but they're not long. This one's a long one. Okay, so this was on Digital Trends. And she's going to explain why she's disappointed by the Dynamic Island. This was by Christine Romero Chan, and this was from 4 days ago. So the Dynamic Island was the biggest iPhone mistake in years. I think she's overstating it, but that's her opinion, and she's certainly going to explain why. So here we go to read a view. In 2017, just in time for the 10th anniversary of the iPhone, Apple revealed the iPhone 10 alongside the iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus. While the iPhone 8 series retained the home button, the iPhone 10 was the first phone to get rid of the classic button altogether and introduce Face ID to replace Touch ID, which I love. I did not have the iPhone 10. I had the 10R, though, myself. But along with it came the notch at the top of the display, which housed the selfie camera and Face ID sensor. My initial thought upon seeing the notch for the first time was, wow, that's ugly. That was the vast majority of people's reaction. I didn't even buy the iPhone 10 at that time, instead opting for the iPhone 8, and a lot of people did. I remember that. It's now been 5 generations of iPhone since the iPhone 10, and last year the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max eliminated the notch in favor of Dynamic Island, which you can see right there. Okay. In the notches place, we now have an elongated pill-shaped cutout at the top of the display, and it can change to show you various things like timers, music, podcasts that are playing, and more. But it's been almost a year since the Dynamic Island was introduced, and I'm still not getting much out of it, and same here. In fact, it's gone from something that I was really excited about to a huge disappointment. Now, I won't say same for me, but I was really excited about it, and I'm somewhat disappointed. So I got to agree with her to some degree. And she's saying the Dynamic Island app support is bad still, and she's going to explain why. I started my career out reviewing apps, so I've got hundreds, maybe even 1,000 apps in my downloads. Sure, a lot of them may not even be on the App Store anymore, but I still have plenty of apps that are current and up to date. The problem is that all apps I use most is that the apps that I use most, the ones I depend on daily, barely use the Dynamic Island at all. I'm not a sports person, So I have no use for viewing sports scores, or even though that's one of the most popular uses of Dynamic Island. I didn't even know I could get my sports scores up there. Of course, I'm not sure what kind of information could be displayed in the Dynamic Island for apps like Outlook, Spark, Microsoft Teams, Ivory for Mastodon, Threads, or my other social media apps. Still, for most of the day, my Dynamic Island is just there, blank, like a deserted wasteland. Me too. I did notice that Instagram now uses the Dynamic Island to tell you the progress of an upload, like when uploading things to stories. But that only lasts for literally a few seconds, I'm sure, before it disappears. I also have Pixel Pals, which uses the Dynamic Island to house a cute little pixelated pet. But that's not what I would call informative or even a necessity, I have to agree. One app, Mike would be interested in this. One app I use, and I'm shocked doesn't use Dynamic Island yet, is DoorDash. Now, I don't use DoorDash as often as I did during the pandemic, but every now and then I want to order food and not leave the house. I'm lazy. Each time I do so, I shake my head in disappointment because there's no real-time tracking as a live activity or some kind of status indicator in the Dynamic Island. Yeah, you would think that DoorDash could add that. This is the kind of app that would be perfect for both features, but nope. Yeah, I agree with her. As for the moment, at the moment, I only really get use out of Dynamic Island when I'm playing music from Apple Music using turn-by-turn directions. Yes, you do get it when you're doing that. Authentication with Face ID for Apple Pay, and maybe if I need a timer that isn't on my Apple Watch Ultra. I know some apps I have like Uber and Flighty use the Dynamic Island and live activities, but I barely fly or need an Uber right now. I would just like to see more of the apps that I use daily have support for key selling point of the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. It's been a year and there's still barely anything. And I've noticed that Uber is always one of the first ones to get on these things, which I think is great for them. But yeah, more people should get on it, I think. Is the Dynamic Island the new touch bar? And this is a good analogy. The Dynamic Island so far reminds me of the touch bar in 2016 era MacBooks. The touch bar was interesting in that it added a touch panel above the keyboard for quick access to various functions and applications, I guess right here. But as novel an idea as it was, a lot of people didn't care for it. There were some big reasons why people didn't like the touch bar, aside from the fact that it replaced the entire function row of keys on the keyboard itself. Despite, and you can see, obviously, it replaced the function row. Despite the name touch bar, you couldn't do anything on it without having to look down at it since it's a touch panel. It always changed appearance and function depending on the active app. And you didn't exactly get physical feedback since it was a glass surface. For pro users, touch typing is a thing. So having to look down at the keyboard to do something was considered disruptive, and I can understand that. After a few years of MacBooks with a touch bar, Apple finally decided to eliminate the hardware feature in 2021 with the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros. This also marked the return of the function row on the keyboard. I'm sure people like that. I feel like the Dynamic Island could go the same way as the touch bar, but it's coming to the new phones too, which we'll find out later. It's quite limited in space, so any information that is displayed there will always be extremely condensed or minimal. And again, there just hasn't been enough support from third-party developers, even almost a year later, I agree. Not the iPhone upgrade I hoped for. When Apple revealed the Dynamic Island, it was exciting because it was finally replacing the ugly notch, and what you could potentially do with it seemed so cool. I totally agree. But it's a year later, and I'm still only getting any use out of it with native apps. I read that right. Didn't sound right. So one of the main reasons I wanted an iPhone 14 Pro has been squandered. I originally thought it was fun and whimsical, but now I just see the Dynamic Island as boring and unimaginative. See, I can't agree with that because it's app developers that aren't updating it, so I don't see it as boring and unimaginative. Maybe the developers are unimaginative. The rumors for the iPhone 15 lineup said the dynamic island is going to be on all the models, not just the Pros. Maybe we'll see the dynamic island become useful once it's standard across the lineup and more accessible by people. Or maybe it'll continue to be just as limited as it is today. I certainly hope it's the former, because as it stands right now, it still feels like a lot of wasted potential. And I think, nice that they're putting it on all of them, but I think Apple's going to have to give these app developers a kick in the butt to get them to, use it. That's my guess. Interesting. And she made some good points there, although she's more disappointed than I've been. So let's see. Let's see. Okay. Ryan said, still slow charging, I guess, with the iPhone. Faster charging by like 2 minutes. That's probably true. What did Brian say? I don't think anyone wants to make calls on Twitter. I wouldn't mind making calls on Twitter. I think having...
Who are you calling on Twitter, George?
Who would I call on Twitter? Well, you don't use it anymore. Elmer doesn't. I have to think. Oh, I could call Mike. Mike's always using Twitter. I could definitely call Mike. Let's see what else. Let's see, that was you. But I still think having video calling available is a very good idea. Let's see. Did you're trying to get the? Oh, yes. That's funny because I got my update. I believe it was 3 nights ago. I think it was 3 nights ago that I got it. Okay, Matt said my old girlfriend had a Wonder Bar on the radio in her 63 Cadillac. What's a Wonder Bar? I don't know what a Wonder Bar is. Sounds like a candy bar.
Yeah, I'm saying, was there a candy called Wonder Bar?
I'm trying to remember. I would remember 63 Cadillacs. I remember when I got my 57 Dodge, the 63 Cadillac had just came out, because I remember my Dodge was a little bit longer than that 63 Caddy, even with the fins. But I don't remember a Wonder Bar. What is a Wonder? Matt, you have to let us know what a Wonder Bar is. Interesting. Trying to jog the old man's memory. The old man's lost it. Yeah, they had fins on the back. That's true. That's why I said my 57 Dodge also had fins, and I remember pulling it up to a 63 Caddy with the fins, and my 57 Dodge was about 2-3 inches longer than the Caddy was, because the fins on that thing were huge. They were bigger than the fins on a Caddy. Okay, Wonder Bar. You used it to scan radio presets. Okay, didn't know that. But what you should all know, I have always, and it has not changed, I have always disliked Cadillacs intensely. My cousin was a huge Cadillac guy. But to this day, I don't like Cadillacs, even at work. The guys, when we're taking cars from one branch to another, the guys say, "Oh, who wants to drive a Cadillac?" And I'm always saying, "Yeah, I'll pass." I just never liked Cadillacs, and I'm never going to like Cadillacs. That's just me, though. And I know I'm different. Okay. Oh, so it was motorized to scan radio presets. Interesting. Okay. And that's the kind of thing you would expect a Cadillac to have it, while other cars didn't have it, because Cadillac has always been famous for doing, little tech things that are ahead of everybody else, even going all the way back to 1903, or when they first invented, when Cadillac first came out, it already had tech that other cars didn't have. I've read that in a number of times. Let's see. It says family had them, not me, not ever. Okay. Also not a fan of Cadillacs, I guess. And Matt, just everybody liked the size of those seats. They had huge back seats. That's one thing my Dodge had too. It was a monstrous sized car, of course, since it was bigger than that Caddy. but mine also had huge back seats. I remember the one time I broke a bone. I broke bones in the top of my foot, my right foot, in 67 or 68. And I used to drive to work every day. Well, of course, in those days, even though there was a bunch of bones fractured at the top of my foot, the cast came all the way from my foot above my knee, just past the top of my knee. And I had that cast on, I think, for 4 months. And I immediately learned, because my car was so big and had these big seats, I immediately learned how to lay my right leg out on my seat next to me, and I learned how to drive with my left foot. But of course, you all know I'm a driving junkie, always have been. So for 4 months, I was driving that monstrous car with my left foot. Let's see. Chevy Bel Air, huge car, great seats. I remember the Bel Air. It wasn't as big as mine, but yeah, it was pretty big. Not just, I think upscale GM had it. Buicks, Olds, and Pontiac had the one. Okay, I can see it in Buicks. I can see it in Olds. I'm surprised it was in Pontiac, because at least in my mind, I never put Pontiac up there with Buick, Olds, and Cadillac. You know, Buick and Olds, they were built to compete against a Cadillac. I never thought of a Pontiac that way, though. But I just could be remembering. And I don't think I ever owned a Pontiac. I don't think I did. I was never much of a fancy car person. I was like, and I had plain cars for years. But when I did get money to get whatever car I wanted back in 85, when I was independent contracting programming, I went on and got me a Porsche, because I got a Porsche 944 because it would do 140 miles an hour. And yes, I used to drive up and down that Jersey Turnpike doing 140 all the time. Thank God cops have always been nice to me. I've had cops let me go at 105 miles an hour, and I've had a cop let me go at 120 miles an hour. So thank God cops have always been very nice to me. Otherwise, I probably would have been in prison. She said it was a Pontiac Primo. Pontiac Primo. Okay. Oh, he said like the kind of the Le Mans. Yeah, I remember when the Le Mans first came out, it was advertised as a fancy upscale car. That's true. He said like the Catalina. Yeah, the Catalina was pretty nice. Pontiac Primo. I think we're all using our memories, going way back. We're all in the way back machine. All right, Ted, you're up.
All right.
So I'm going to bring up the first One UI 5.1. This was on Phone Arena. So let's see if I can get it to go into the breeder view to get rid of some of these ads. Oh, this might have been one of the ones I had trouble putting in reader view yesterday. Let's see what happens. No, it seems like it's okay. All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay. You see, with the One UI 5.11 update, Samsung brings Fold 5, Flip 5, Tab S9 watch check features to previous devices. A total of 21 Samsung Galaxy devices will get ever closer to the latest Galaxy Z Flip 5, Z Fold 5 experience. These 21 previous devices will receive a new massive design and functionality revamp with the One UI 5.11 update that is going to start rolling out in August. So the Galaxy Z Fold models getting this is the Z Fold 4, Fold 3, and Fold 2. Okay. And the Z Flip 4, 3, and the original Z Flip. Okay.
That surprises me.
Yeah. The Galaxy Tab models that are getting this update is the S8, S8 Plus, S8 Ultra, Tab S7, S7 Plus, S7 FE, S6 Lite, the A8, A7, A7 Lite, Tab Active 3, and the Tab Active 4 Pro, And the Galaxy Watch models getting the update is the Watch 5, 5 Pro, 4, and the 4 Classic.
So I will get it on my Watch 5 Pro, and Elna will get it on her Watch 4 Classic. Good.
The software update will come in the following order. The first to get it will be the Galaxy Z Fold 4, Z Flip 4, and the Tab S8 series, and the Watch 5 series. Next, it will become available to previous generations of foldable phones, tablets, and smartwatches. There's more to the One UI 5.11 update than just refined looks and polished design. There are great features present that will empower your older Galaxy devices and tune it with the current state of Z Fold 5, Z Flip 5 innovations. Samsung is bringing select features from the latest One UI to the aforementioned sort of list of previous devices. Let's take a look at them one at a time. So,
yeah,
Flex Mode.
If you want to switch to me reading, I will. I heard you moan.
So, Flex Mode. Those that are involved with the foldable Galaxy universe know perfectly well how handy the Flex Mode comes with certain applications.
That's true. I used to like Flex Mode on my 4.
Flex Mode allows different applications to reposition to fit to the top and bottom of the screen simultaneously. Just remember to keep the phone folded at an angle between 75 degrees and 115 degrees. In One UI 5.11, Flex Mode is enhanced and allows easier access to the Flex Mode panel icons, which will float up the screen. Further customization is enabled, so you get to choose where to drag and drop the icon on the toolbar.
That's good.
Another update is the media play bar button, which offers 10 seconds fast forward and rewind and features access. The button is showcased in a convenient place where the Flex Mode panel activates. You can also press down for easier scrubbing through your video's progress bar, for example. When watching a movie in Flex Mode, you can rewind or fast forward with nothing more than a single tap with your personalized Flex Mode panel toolbar. Hope you're not watching a movie on your Z Flip.
Actually, I was watching a video on my
Motorola?
My Moto on the main screen yesterday, and it was fine.
You're watching in portrait vertical orientation, George?
Yeah, but keep in mind it's like a square screen. So
you're watching it closed?
I was watching it closed. Yes, it was the first time I watched the video on that close, and I said, "Oh, this is okay." It was better.
It was a movie?
No, it was a. I was watching Jason Whitlock's channel.
Okay, on YouTube. Not so serious then. While we're on the topic of multitasking, owners of the Z Fold 4, Z Flip 4, and S8 will be able to easily switch open Samsung Internet in a pop-up window to do a quick search without interrupting whatever they were watching. For example,
nobody uses the Samsung Internet. Come on.
It used to be very popular, the internet browser.
Years ago, yeah, but Chrome killed it, just like it killed everything else for a long time.
When done browsing, the pop-up window can be dragged to the side of the screen where it will snap seamlessly. If another screen is to be performed to access Samsung Internet again, simply tap on the pop-up to open the window and it will resume the previous location.
That's good.
Things get interesting when pressing and holding the handle of the top pop-up window. Welcome multi-window. The new update supports more intuitive control of your screen, allowing users to switch to a split view and easily control the screen.
That's good. It's very good.
There's also a super practical two-handed drag and drop feature that is now supported on your foldables and tablets main screen. Open your destination app with one hand and drag a file to it with the other. That's even a quicker way to share multiple photos from your gallery with a friend via Messenger. Okay. The name of the game is Productivity, and the Z Fold 4 and Tab S8 users are able to get up to speed thanks to their innovative addition to the taskbar. Now the taskbar enables lightning fast task switching with access to up to 4 recent apps. Remember, the taskbar feature is supported on the main screen only. Let's see, you can now achieve a healthier you with an up-to-date Galaxy Watch. The One UI 5 Watch update is bringing the more personalized wellness feature for you, as well as more customizable style options. Galaxy Watch 5, Watch 4 owners will benefit from an upgraded sleep management feature that gives a better understanding of their personal sleep patterns through a more intuitive UI with details of analysis of score factors, sleep consistency, and sleep animal symbols. Users can also access the sleep coaching program right from their wrist, but that one requires sleep data of at least 7 days, including 2 days off. So that don't be
You know what's interesting for me here? Of course, I don't have my Flip 4 anymore, so the only one I have in this whole list is my Watch 5. So it's kind of cool that I'll get on my Watch 5, but it's all sleep-related stuff. I never ever use that stuff. Why? Because I'm so healthy. I just don't need it, and I know that. So it's kind of funny that I got excited about it, and all the stuff it's going to have, I'm never going to use anyway. So.
When the time for bed comes, the optimal sleep environment can be adjusted with connected home devices via the Galaxy Watch. There are many One UI 5.11 sports lifestyle features, like the personalized heart rate zone feature that analyzes your physical capability and establishes 5 optimal running intensity levels, in addition to the more than 100 existing workout trackers.
I'm going to be checking that number. There is a lot of stuff on there, but we'll find out if it's 100.
Fast forward, for Galaxy Watch Pro users, even more enhanced GPX features are available, like new routes to explore from the GPX file database. The GPX on your smartwatch stands for a software that allows for users to set a target route before going hiking or cycling.
That's good because I'm a Galaxy Watch 5 Pro user, so good.
The route workout feature has expanded to support running and walking as well as hiking and cycling. The health monitoring is enhanced thanks to the irregular heart rhythm notification feature and more comprehensive heart health insights. Of course, there's an even larger selection of styles and watch faces, ranging from informative to voguish and beyond. Coming this fall, the Galaxy Watch Active 2 and Watch 3 users too will be able to enjoy some of these new watch faces: stretch, time, and perpetual.
I can verify that they always have a lot of voguish watch faces. They have a lot of watch faces, some of which I would never touch. And yeah, some of the heart stuff I might use. Anyway, I'm glad I have at least one device that's going to get some of these features. So I just thought it was interesting. All right, let's get out of that. And I'll go for the next one, which is this has the camera upgrades that we were talking about, and I do have them on my phone already, so I got the upgrade. So this is on Sam Mogul. And I wanted to read the bottom story first because this one kind of continues where that one leaves off. So let me go to the other story first. Where do we go? No. Let's see. Okay. Update that brings new camera features to Galaxy S23, now live in the US. And I don't think I'm going to put this in reader view. I don't think. Yesterday, Samsung released the August 23 security update to the Galaxy S23 series in the US. However, it was limited to the carrier-locked versions of the phones. Today, and that would have been the day I got it, the company has released a new software update to the factory unlocked, which is what mine is, models of Galaxy S23 series in the US. What's new? The latest software update for the factory unlocked Galaxy S23, S23 Plus, and Ultra comes bearing firmware version, and it gives a number, and I went and checked the number as soon as I read this, and I do have it. This update is over 1.2 gigabytes in file size, and it brings several camera and gallery related improvements. It brings 2x zoom toggle. I checked, I have that. In the stock camera app via the camera assistant plugin, this new zoom option is an in-sensor crop that offers optical zoom like image quality. Moreover, Samsung has brought AI deep learning based digital zoom that it debuted with the Galaxy Z Flip 5 and the Galaxy Z Fold 5 to the Galaxy S23 series, resulting in improved image quality for shots captured with digital zoom, something I'll be trying to get tested over the weekend. And this too. The portrait video mode has been improved too, with videos recording using big circle, color point, and glitch effects now having a 30 FPS frame rate instead of 24 frames per second. The super steady video recording mode has been improved too, and I'll be checking that too, to offer improved details and smoothness. The selfie camera now offers a more natural face shape correction. I tried to use that and I couldn't figure out what it meant. Maybe I'll figure it out over the weekend. One of the major complaints that people have with cameras on Samsung phones is that they fail to capture sharp images of moving objects like kids and pets. Samsung says that the new update now offers better image quality when moving objects are in the frame. So I'm going to have to see if I can find some moving objects to do some shots of. Another camera-related issue on the Galaxy S23 series was called Bananagate, and it referred to the blurriness of an object's borders when it is closer to the camera lens. The company claims to have solved the problem as well. Moreover, the quality of the blur has been improved, and noise in the shadow areas of the frame have been reduced in 50 megapixel and 200 megapixel. That's for the ultra camera modes. So I have never used either one in my Ultra, but I did check. I was able to find the 50. I have not seen the 200 yet, but I will find it. So I'll be checking all of that. Now I want to go to the top story, which kind of picks up where this left off. At least that's how I see it. The recent improvements to the Galaxy S23 camera experience appear to be part of the same release. As you might know, the Galaxy S23 recently gained the capability of recording 8K 30 FPS and QHD 60 FPS super steady video. So I'm going to try to test that too. In addition, the Galaxy S23 series gained a new 2x zoom option via Camera Assistant. Yeah, I told you about that, but there's more. A Samsung community moderator confirmed many more changes that are part of the latest camera and gallery updates released in August. For example, Galaxy S23 gained the same AI deep learning technology for improving digital zoom, which we saw that in the other part of the story. Picture quality as the Z Fold 5 and Z Flip 5. We talked about the new impressive AI tech for Samsung's latest foldable phones in greater detail at the beginning of the month. And there's more. Some portrait video mode effects, which I already mentioned in the other part, now supports 30 frames instead of being limited to 24 FPS. Samsung said the August updates for the Galaxy S23 optimized camera performance for super steady and more to improve various shooting experiences, and the selfie camera has had some tweaks for better natural face shape corrections. All right, let me see if I can put this in read view and just finish it up, because that video on the side was driving me nuts and distracting the heck out of me, and it was annoying me really. Furthermore, Samsung got the August up for Galaxy optimized camera performance for super steady and more to improve shooting experience, and the selfie camera has some tricks for better natural face shapes corrections, which I didn't find yet. Furthermore, when photographing moving objects, Galaxy S23 users should get photos with improved motion blur. Like I said, I'll be looking for something to try that on. Likewise, the development team adjusted the focus to reduce peripheral image blur when shooting close-up subjects with Galaxy S23 and Galaxy S23 Plus in particular. Last but not least, Samsung approved 15, we just talked about that, and 200 image quality with better blur lighting, optimized shadow noise. If you want to take advantage of these latest improvements, make sure you run the latest camera and gallery updates, which I already have. So just thought it was interesting, and I definitely will be getting some of this done over the weekend and getting a video up about what I do find.
And I'll be waiting for that to watch.
Okay. See, now I'm going to have a photographer critiquing me. Now, of course, you've made me nervous.
Oh,
All right, let me stop screen. All right, that's all the stories for tonight, folks. Let's see what else we have. Galaxy Watch 5. We'll get that update. That's good. So many. Yeah, they have a ton of watch faces on the Galaxy Watches. Great stream, guys. A quick case long to sign off with. No, I don't think so. What are you bopping to? You like you're listening to a song right now.
no music playing.
Oh, okay. It's just in your head?
Yeah.
I guess that makes you a headliner. Okay. I couldn't resist.
Autofocus.
What's today's date? Today is okay.
The 18th.
Keep in mind, folks, 2 weeks from tonight, Mike is going to run the stream from Simply Your Device.
What?
2 weeks from tonight. He's kind of excited about it. He already told his family, leave him alone that day. And that's Labor Day, so he's taking off. So he's very excited about that.
Nah, that won't be available. Darn.
So you'll be in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, folks, I should let you know, Ted Bing is the nice person that he is. He wanted me to meet him in New Orleans on Labor Day. But if there's one thing I never, ever do is travel on holidays. I've learned the hard way, don't do that.
I don't think Labor Day should count as like a holiday.
No, but it's certainly a day I probably don't want to be driving, for 10, 11 hours. Probably not. I learned the hard way because when we lived in Orlando, and Eleanor's oldest daughter was still in the Air Force. Both her husbands, they were both sergeants in the Air Force. They lived in Valdosta, Georgia, which was 3 hours away from Orlando. So in a normal day, I would get in the car and we'd drive the 3 hours and we'd get to Valdosta. Twice I tried driving it Thanksgiving weekend. It took like 5 hours or more.
Well, that's Thanksgiving.
I remember going through Gainesville. It took an hour and a half to drive across Gainesville, which usually took less than 10 minutes.
Well, that's Thanksgiving, it's hard to go.
Yeah, and of course, there's not going to be any traffic on Labor Day, right? No, nobody's going to be driving, right?
Yeah, no, there's just going to be in the cities, people try to go to their summer places. I don't know. I think the interstate highways will be okay. But Thanksgiving,
Guess what? Ed, New Orleans is a city. And it's a city below another big city because you got to come to, at least I would probably come to Baton Rouge to get there.
Oh, boy. Good point. Okay. Point taken.
Okay. So you will have a good time. But anyway, if you can tune in that night, Mike will be running the show. So he's kind of excited about that. So just want to, Three Musketeers that night. We can never say what Will's going to do. Will's work schedule, when he's not too terribly tired, he'll come on the show. But he never knows when that's going to be, and we never know when that's going to be. So we never know. So that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for being with us. Ted, you were there for the entire show, beginning to end. It's awesome. And at least, old ladies consider you handsome, so that's good. I can say old lady because she has a birthday coming next month. So.
Oh.
But she's still 9 years younger than me, so she's not that old. Thanks for being there.
Okay.
And your lighting, when you did turn the lights on, your lighting is kind of perfect. Is this because of better lighting in the apartment, or?
No, it's the same light that I've always used.
Yeah, she seems to show up better here. It looks great. So
It's I will say though, where I have it set up, it's better compositionally. So like, my head is framed with the door frame and it's like balanced on either side. So that's why it looks a bit better.
Yeah, so you're trying to say you were framed. Okay, yeah, that's what they all say just before they get convicted.
I'm better framed.
Thanks, Matt. All right, folks, that's going to be it for tonight. And let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. I hope everybody has a wonderful and great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And here comes a little